Hey guys, Buff and Game back today, bringing you another video, and today we're covering part 4 of the Journey of the Notepads for the Battlefield 2042 Exodus short film build-up, which is going to premiere on August 12th here early next week. So, Journey of the Notepads here, picking up on part 4 of Kayvan Bechir, an investigative journalist. The part 4 title is The Third Faction. So we pick up with this on the multiplayer map Kaleidoscope, which is going to be taking place in Sangdo, South Korea. And the story behind this map is actually really interesting. So we'll go through some of this here and then give some opinions. We have some screenshots that were shared of this in the story itself. So picking up here, essentially, Kayvan is on the same boat where we left off for the Coyote story here in part 3. And I'll pick it up here where the action kind of intersects with the map and what goes on with the storyline. So at approximately 7:30 a.m., an executive assistant of the Daesung Electronics made out with 10 terabytes of internet data. Now this is being, essentially she's hearing this, or our character is hearing this over the radio. So this is kind of a news broadcast of internal data from the headquarters of Sangdo, South Korea on a stolen corporate helicopter. The criminal responsible for the breach, an unassuming Korean woman in her 20s, was suspected of being a foreign intelligence asset, most likely American or Russian. They couldn't have been more wrong. So then we get a nice screenshot here of the map itself, which just looks beautiful. So we saw a lot of this in the trailer, the initial trailer itself. And this map I can already tell is going to be one of my favorites. It reminds me a lot of the outdoor areas of Operation Metro. Just very lush, really nice lighting here before the hurricanes hit. And it just looks beautiful. Apparently this is the smallest map in the game though, but again, this looks like it's going to be probably one of the more fun maps. So you can see here in the image itself, the description is the Sangdo Grand Park after the explosive events at Daesung headquarters. So this is after the heist took place. So picking up with the story, a little backstory on the South Korean economy during this time in 2041, that South Korea, and also I just want to backtrack quickly, the timeline for this is May 8th, 2042. So it's 2042, May 8th, so we're about 3 months after part 3 here. So picking up, South Korea's economy is one of the more successful stories of the last decade, not just surviving, but thriving. However, one company deserves a lion's share of the credit, Daesung Electronics. So this is going into some backstory here about how this company, and then some information about the blackout. So before the blackout, almost the entire world had switched to satellite internet. After the disaster in 2040 plunged us in the dark ages, the earthbound ISP internet service providers sprang up from obscurity in the next-gen solution they developed for undeserved markets. So this is, again, the blackout is when all the satellites kind of just crashed for some unknown reason. So if all the internet was being provided by the satellites, and really the bulk of the satellites, I think, were kind of taken out in this blackout. So then it picks up saying that this new internet that Daesung Electronics provided was called Knet. So promising to get the world back online without needing to repopulate the heavens with excessive hardware, or expensive hardware, that being more satellites, right? So they can have internet based here outside of the satellites, not need to be dependent on that anymore. So by the spring of 2041, Daesung had 60% of the internet traffic running through its veins, which eventually flowed into the quantum data center, the heart of Daesung. So this is that quantum data center that we heard about, and again, you see it featured in the story. It's in the center of the map itself from what we can see with the screenshots and in the short little bits of gameplay that are seen in the trailer itself. So for the US Russian intelligence network, infiltrating the trove of information would provide an overwhelming tactical advantage. What I didn't realize, and this is again from Kevin's perspective, was that there was a third faction interested in Daesung, entrenched within the intel wars. And then we have another screenshot here showing the hurricanes or tornadoes going on here. Daesung funded the construction of the Grand Park in the wake of Hurricane Vera. So that's one of the great hurricanes that took place, and again, it's kind of what we're going to see, the natural disasters in the gameplay itself when we're playing. But you can see the Grand Park with that data center seems to be built after the hurricane took place. So then it picks up with, I finished the news, went above deck for some air when I spot something in the distance, a flaming black jet helicopter with unmistakable Daesung logo on the side of the helicopter. Everyone rushed over to the edge of the ship as the chopper crashes when an unassuming Korean woman from the headlines floats across the deck with her parachute. I'll come to know this specialist as Jiso Paik. So this is a new specialist here. Jisoo Paik, I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, but Jisoo Paik is a new specialist here, female Korean specialist, the Nopat model, or the Nopat mole who infiltrated Daesung at Oz's behest. Now Oz, again, being the leader of the Nopats. So then it picks up as Casper and Rao usher her below deck. My brain is firing at 1,000,000 miles per hour. After Singapore, I was convinced all the Nopats were sympathetic underdogs making hard choices to help the destitute survive. But here were some infiltrating tech giants beating the superpowers at their own game. Perhaps the conspiracy theories weren't all fake news. So that's all of part 4 here. We're going to pick up with part 5 on Monday, and that's going to be taking place over in what looks like South America called the Pineapple Express, and I'm assuming that'll take place at the map Orbital, which is going to be in the French Guiana Islands. So I believe that's where we're going to take place here with part 5, the Pineapple Express, on Monday. Again, we got some really good shots of the map Kaleidoscope. Looks like a beautiful map. We'll have to see, especially some of the shots that we have here show kind of the scope of the city itself, and it leads me to believe that potentially this map could be expanded at some point, because they have, even though this is just key art, there's a whole city here. It would be a really cool urban war zone that could take place. If there's some islands out in the distance, you could maybe cross there with ships, have some of these islands be playable with flags for conquest and rush, etc. So let me know down below what you guys think of this. Again, this is part 4 of the Journey of the Nopats, that being the 3rd faction. Let me know what you think down below. Till next time, this is Buckner Gaming, out.